Welcome to the Inside Look, where we get a closer look at the men and women, the mavericks, the movers and shakers in and around Cape Town and Africa, people who are doing wonderful things and excelling in the business world. And today, we have a very special guest and we're going to learn a lot from him. So, Peter, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
I remember having a conversation with you a couple of months back, and you're telling me how you sold thousands of jogging shorts. And how did you get your ideas to spread?
I think that particular instance was specific to a particular industry I was in. It was a great deal of luck and good fortune, to be frank with you. So in that circumstance, a friend of mine started a small factory up the road, in actual fact. And we got our first order of jogging shorts in the clothing industry for 5,000 pairs. The thing is that we had made a different type of jogging short. We had looked at make jogging shorts for females, whereas they were mostly women who were buying men's shorts. And of course, being a fashion item, it just took off. And it was like selling a Smarties. The phone never stopped ringing. So it was a matter of being at the right place at the right time in that situation. Yeah. So connectivity, being able to distribute it through major retailers, and having the right product, right colors, right fit.
You spoke about your friend who was your partner.
Yeah.
What is the importance of partnerships or partnering with someone? The
relationship we had was one where I would cover his back and he would cover my back. So in the world of small startups, I don't know how people, in actual fact, start businesses just by going solo. We were able to feed each other's ideas. In the good times, we were able to celebrate. In the bad times, we were able to support each other. So partnership is vital, and a good partnership is vital, I think, to grow the business. And I think you find that most startup companies have at least two people. And the issue in companies like that is to have one person inside and one person outside. That's what we did. So I was selling and he was manufacturing. And then we changed each other's roles because we'd do both jobs. So we did a good partnership. He's now in Los Angeles, living in Beverly Hills, been very successful in the clothing industry, yeah.
I know the importance of a business coach because you coach me and many other people. What is the importance of a business coach? Like
any coach, okay, in the world of business, a coach will be able to hold up a mirror of a reflection. So coaching isn't in fact telling you what to do. It's asking the right questions so you get for yourself what is important to and what decisions and what actions to take. Coaching also in the business world is a fantastic support for top executives because at the top level of business, it's a very lonely place. Very often, top executives can't communicate with the rest of the board, and they need an outside independent person to evaluate ideas and strategies with. And also personal issues. Everybody's human. So we bring the human side to the workplace, yeah.
It's very nice. And how do you view rejections?
Rejection?
Yes.
Love it. I love it. And I'll tell you why. Because if you are, especially in the world of selling, say for example you need to sell 10 items, you know that in the world of statistics, you're going to have at least, I don't know what the ratio is, say 10 to 1. 10 people are going to say no. So every time you get a rejection, it takes you one step closer to the one about going to say, yes, I want your product, I want your idea, I want what you're going to do. So failure, if there's such a thing as failure, is an important part of making progress.
That's very, and you always tell me, this is what you always tell me. You always tell me that you're not failing in love. You always tell me that I'm not failing enough, I'm not taking risks and all. Failure is, most people are afraid of failing. Talk a bit about that because...
Well, there's a saying that says fail often and fail quickly. So when you're about to make your mistakes, make sure you don't wait 10 years into the process to make the mistakes. Do it now while you're still in the early stages. The other aspect to understand is that if you regard failure as a personal indication of your self-worth, what a lot of people do, it basically is a narrative which just stops you. So I like to say to you that as a subconscious idea, a presupposition, failure is just feedback. That's all it is. So if something doesn't work, try something else. If that doesn't work, try something else. And that's what Edison did. I mean, he spent, I think, 10,000 or 1,000 failures before he invented the light bulb. That's what he did. So failure is an important part of success.
In your own opinion, what's more important, who you know or what you know?
I don't think it's an either or. It's basically both and. You have to know what you're doing, you have to be technically competent, and you have to have connections. And it's not an either or, it's both and. So you have to know what you're doing, and you also have to know who you're pitching it to, basically.
But it is say that relational capital is more important than financial capital, because with relational capital, I think you have more chances of getting the financial capital.
It's an interesting question. I don't think you can separate the two either again. You know, financial capital is important. I wish my father had money. You know, it makes a big difference. To go and seek people out, to be able to pitch an idea to, is a little bit of a longer journey. Yeah.
And this is a question that was emailed to me by one of the viewers. How do you instill trust in your clients? How do you build that confidence in them?
Well, first of all, before instilling trust, you instill rapport, you build rapport. So rapport is a process of getting to know each other, understanding who the person is, how they think, where they come from, what values they have. And trust is basically keeping your word. So every time I say, I'm going to do something, I do it. That's how you build trust. It's having integrity. And integrity is not about a moral issue. It's about just doing what you say you're going to do. So for example, today I was here at 11 o'clock. I could have been here at 5 past or 10 past, but I came at 11 o'clock, so I gave you my word. And that's how you build trust. Just being your word. Living by your word. Yeah.
That's very wise. Okay. So what is the importance of branding?
Brand identity is a very important aspect of making you stand out. And that goes to the personal issue about personal branding and about product branding. So what are you talking about, product branding or personal branding?
Personal branding.
Yeah, okay.
Personal branding.
So how do you stand out from the crowd? How do you get known? That's exactly what you're doing right now. You're actually taking steps to make sure that you put some stuff out in the marketplace, that you become known as something, for something and some idea. So unless you do what you're doing right now and spread it as far as possible, nobody knows who you are. Nobody's going to come to you. The issue right now in terms of marketing and branding is you go and seek those clients rather than them coming to you. It's been reversed completely. So it's basically identifying what clients' needs are and going and getting them individually. That's the important issue.
What's the next big move for you? Which industry do you
know,
think?
if I was 30 or 20, I'd say the next big move. You know the next big move for me?
Yes.
Is to die happily. I mean, that's a big move when you think about it. So I'm 70 years old. I'm supposed in the twilight of my life. And the issue would be to leave a legacy. That would be the biggest move. And the legacy would be with your children, your family, the people who know you. But in terms of changing the world, big impact, that's not on the cards for me. I'm doing the smaller big impacts at a personal level.
But you've done more than enough.
Well, what's enough? You know, one doesn't stop reinventing yourself. I think the issue is to keep on reinventing yourself.
There are thousands of people that look up to you. I'm here because of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So it's in our smaller moments of daily contact that we can impress people or make a difference in people's lives. So what's important for me is to be curious. Curious about how people are functioning, what they're doing, and to ask you to ask the questions about yourself that you can start to grow and expand as a human being. That excites me. So if that's a big issue, then it's a big issue for me. Yeah.
And how do we promote entrepreneurship in South Africa? Because I was doing a survey and I actually discovered that South Africa is one of the lowest countries in terms of entrepreneurship in the world. And how do we promote entrepreneurship in this country?
It's an interesting dynamic. I mean, if you look at the people like yourself who come from other countries, you're entrepreneurial. The local population, unfortunately, isn't for some strange reason, and I'm not quite sure what the reason is. But their best idea of a good life is working for the government, which is not a way to create an economy. So I suppose what you've got to do is to change the mindset, which means getting people at an early age who have successful entrepreneurs visiting schools as a starting base, to instill them in the idea of an exciting challenge by being an entrepreneur. Of course, then you have to do is to provide the capital, but they have to come up with the ideas. And I think that's where the problem lies. We have a paucity of ideas. We don't have great thinkers in that world. We have people who would like to, perhaps, but they don't have the ideas. And that's because they're not connected. And I suppose having greater internet connectivity will also support that process. I
always tell people that you do not have to depend on the government to build an economy. People often complain about the government, and I believe in creating your own economy.
Yeah, good. And that's why you're here. I met a Zimbabwean chap. I'm going to tell you the story. His name was Jonathan. I met him on the beach in Camps Bay. I think I told you this, but I want to recount the story because it's an important philosophy about life. He left Zimbabwe with a friend, crossed the border, sold his shoes, every penny he had to get across the border. His friend drowned in crossing. He ended up on the other side, worked in a farming community on a tomato farm. This is not what I came here for. Spent nights walking, hitchhiking to Cape Town, not to Cape Town, to Johannesburg. Got to the Zoo Lake. He thought, this is an incredible place. Here are all these ducks around, water, people are friendly. He spent 2 weeks living on the Zoo Lake, just off natural vegetation, basically, until somebody basically went to him and said, listen, I'm going to support you, come and do a gardening job for me. But before that, what the point I wanted to make really was, he would go out every day and he would ring doorbells, and I'd say to him, who are you, what do you want? He'd say, I'm looking for work, I'm a gardener. And they said to him, you know what, we've got a gardener already, thank you very much. He said, isn't that fantastic? Everybody needs a gardener. And I said to him, how do you keep on going? He said, I went to the next corner, and the next corner, and the next corner. And it didn't stop him. He came to Cape Town, he became a very successful playwright. He went to America, went to visit the White House, and he had a great belief in the joy of life for a start, and his ability to succeed. And he succeeded. And unfortunately, he passed away last year, I think. I don't know what disease he had, but he passed away. But inspirational person. So the idea is to keep on going. That's the important thing.
Wrote a book, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did. He wrote a book about poetry and about plays. Yeah, he wrote a couple of books, and a couple of plays as well. He's also a musician. So inspirational stuff. So the issue around entrepreneurship is to find inspiration in something, in somebody else. And if they can do it, I can do it. That's the issue.
And when did you discover your entrepreneurial spirit, and how did it happen?
Okay, I didn't like to have any authority over me from a very early age, including parents. And in addition to which, I didn't like to work in a large corporation where I thought I could do a better job. So when the opportunity arose, where we got this order for 30,000 jogging shorts, we just took it. We had 5,000 Rand. We bought some sewing machines. People helped us. People like to help entrepreneurs. We had a studio around the corner. We had a small cutting table, and the business just grew and grew and grew until we moved across the road to another bigger factory, and we had another product, and that just took off. So when it struck, you're never quite sure when it strikes. It's just the attitude that I don't want to work for somebody else. That's it. You know, I can do better. And there's also a bit of arrogance in actual fact. Arrogance and the ability to take a risk. The first time we signed a lease for a premises was for 14,000 Rand a year, I think. I was terrified. I thought, I'm never going to be able to pay this off. And you know what? You just do it. Just get in the court and do it.
And the most important thing is you took action.
And you're prepared to fail. That's the important thing. When your business grows, you have to analyze the size of the risk that you take in terms of failure. So when you take risks going down the line, when you're more successful, make sure that those risks are calculated, that they don't sink the ship. So perhaps lose a rudder or two or a sail or two, but don't sink the ship.
So what advice do you have for our viewers, mostly young South Africans, young Africans rather? What advice would you give them?
The advice I would do basically is to give them the advice to start anything. Just start. Whatever you've got in your hands, start something. Because what you'll find out in the journey, some things will work and some things won't work. So what you'll do is you'll take action to course correct. And hopefully you'll end up in the right place. People will notice your ability and they'll support you. So I would say to people who are sitting in the stands, get out of the stands, get in the court and take action. That's what I would suggest.
Thank you very much, Peter, for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I hope we can expect come across each other in the future. I look forward to seeing you driving a huge big Bentley.
Thank you. Thank you, viewers, for watching the show. Please make sure to watch this show same time next week. And next week we have a very interesting topic and a very special guest. Make sure you watch it. And if you have any questions that you want me to ask this special guest, please feel free to email me. And if you want me to interview someone, please feel free to email me as well. Thank you very much.